Hello, this is Sagar Lalka, and today we'll be having the briefing session on the subject marketing management. Under marketing management, there are almost around 5 units. So we'll go unit wise, and I'll be highlighting the pointers that what is that you will be learning in this specific units. So the first unit is about the introduction, concepts of marketing, marketing environment, and marketing management. In this unit, it's very essential to understand basically what exactly the marketing is, the fundamentals of marketing, and also the focus area would be more of having a more clarity on what is the difference between selling and marketing. Because majority of the times we get confused that selling and marketing, both the terms are almost the same, but then there is a difference between both the terminologies. So it's very essential for the students to understand what the exact difference between the work profile under the category of selling and simultaneously people who are doing marketing. Again, the important aspect which in this unit would be covering up is about understanding the need, wants, and demand, because that's how the customers revolve around these three areas. And as a marketing professional, it's always suggested and recommended that until unless you understand the customer, what is that they are looking forward for, you won't be able to deliver the quality thing, or maybe the customer won't be able to get the feedback or won't be satisfied with what you're offering to him or her. So that is what you need to understand under the segment that needs, wants, and demand. Then there are certain concepts of marketing on the basis of which today, whatever marketing era we are into it, the entire process of marketing has been changing up since decades. So we have the concept initially of the production concept, product concept, selling concept, and now we are into the era of completely the marketing, whole and soul marketing era. So understanding these concepts will figure out that how things work and how we have been shifting from one process to the another process. So basically, the entire concept, all the five concepts which we'll be studying will help you out to will help you to understand the concept of marketing in far more better way. Right. Then we have a marketing environment. Again, there are different types of environmental factors because of which the marketing has an impact. Broadly, they are categorized into two, that is internal factors and the external factors. So these marketing environmental factors will help us to understand what are the areas wherein one has to take care of it. Say, for example, when we talk about the internal factors, so basically internal factor includes the employees, your customers, shareholders, retailers, distributors, so people who are associated with the organization in some or the other form. Whereas external factors are something which does not have a direct connection with the company, or which doesn't have a direct interaction with the company. So basically something which is externally influenced, like your political factors, economical factor, legal factors, technological factors. So any certain change in either of these factors would bring in change in the marketing environment also. A simple example could be like we are into now digital marketing, right? So the technology has forcefully changed the concept of marketing, the kind of marketing which we have been doing up since ages. Now everybody is getting into a social media marketing and a digital marketing era. So it's always essential to figure out the basics of environmental factors and how these environmental factors are going to create an impact on the entire strategy of the marketing, right? Then we have a marketing mix, another very important aspect of the marketing, especially for the marketing professionals, wherein you have 7 P's. People, product, price, place, procedure, physical evidence. So these 7 P's act as an element of marketing, and it helps you to understand how important each element is. Now again, here it depends on the kind of product you have, the kind of services you are offering. Based on that, definitely there would be the proportion would be, the weightage would be different for all the 7 P's. But then yes, all the 7 P's have to be considered, right? So you need to make sure that understanding of every element and understanding how each element is dependent on the other element is very important. So in this first unit, this is how the basic entire understanding would be related to marketing, fundamentals of marketing, concept of marketing, environmental factors, and the marketing mix. So this will help you to have a clear picture and clear understanding about exactly the concept of marketing, right? Moving ahead to the second unit, which talks about the consumer and the business market. You have consumer behavior, determinants of buying behavior, and then there are business buying situations. Now, in the first unit, we had fundamentals of marketing, and now basically marketing, the study of marketing is essential because we want to sell the products, we want to promote the products, and accordingly, we want the customer satisfaction too. Right. So the second unit talks about all about the understanding of the consumers and the customers. So in this, we have two broad segments, again, two broad categories. One is consumer, that I mean B2C, and the other one is B2B. So basically, there are two markets, open markets. One is the customer based and one is the business based, right? So depending on who is your market segment, and depending on to whom we are targeting, the marketing strategies and the marketing mix elements will play the leading role, right? So in consumers part, wherein we are directly selling to the consumers, right? So we need to understand the customers, the consumers' behavior pattern. We need to understand what are the trends happening on, what are the trends going on, and on those basis, we will decide the strategy. As far as B2B is concerned, which is business to business, so we are selling off to the businesses directly, and wherein the model would be entirely different, the marketing strategies would be different. Then we have consumer behavior. The consumer behavior, wherein we need to understand the individual preferences, the groups. We need to also figure it out that how usually the consumers buy the products, what are the tastes, what are the preferences of the consumers, and the overall objective of understanding these consumer buyer elements is to figure it out that how well can we satisfy the customers, right? Because like in first unit, as I said, the three elements: need, want, and desire. So these are the things, if they have been satisfied, then definitely the consumer and the customer will be the loyal customer, right? Then we have determinants, wherein we decide, or it helps us to understand the consumer's approach or consumer's thought process in a far more better way. So we have parameters on the basis of like economic factors, physiological factors, psychological factors, and then we have the sociological factors. So in economic factors, we understand the consumer's income source, who is the decision maker, who is the main person, and what is his personal income, how many family members are involved, what is the level of standard of living, what's their education. These are the factors which we check under the economic determinants. Then psychologically, we have your perception, how you look at the products, how you look at the brands, how motivated you are as far as buying is concerned, and how is your personality, what kind of attitude one carries. So these factors helps me to understand the entire personality and the overall segment, so that accordingly I can design not only the promotional campaigns, but then simultaneously I can also work on my product development. Then sociological, you have family background, caste, religion, groups, culture, traditions. So these again varies from one city to other city, one region to the other region. North has a different tradition, cultures, the lifestyle is different, whereas South has a different religion and caste. Right. So this is all about the consumer behavior. Moving towards the third, that's a market segmentation. In market segmentation, the most important element of marketing, that is, you should know who your target audience is, right? No matter if you understand, if you have understood the concept of marketing, you have understood what consumers are or what customers are, what they want, but if you do not, if you are not pitching or the marketing strategies to the right target audience, your sales will not increase. So it's very essential to understand the segmentation. And the segmentations, there are different types of segmentations to be done based on geographic locations, demographic, behavioral, psychographic. These are the four different types of commonly used segmentation tools. Say for example, geographic, you can divide where you want your product to be sold on and which part of the country. Say you have say Maharashtra as only the place where you want to sell your product. So you will study the entire Maharashtra, you will study the entire characteristics of people staying in Maharashtra, and then you will decide the marketing strategies for it, right? And accordingly, you will start selling the product. Similarly, if it is more of a psychographic, wherein you understand the lifestyle, the class, the standard of living of specific. Say you are targeting all the actors and models from the film and from the fashion industry. So you need to understand their personality. You need to understand their standard of living, how they walk, what kind of brands they prefer, and on that basis, you will design the promotional campaigns, and accordingly, will push the product into the market. Correct. Then simultaneously, the marketing strategies for the product are definitely dependent on the kind of audience we choose. And along with that, the other most important element, along with the segmenting comes is the positioning. How you want your product to be positioned into the market. So once you understand who your audience is, once you understand how your product is segmented, right, and for whom, and then finally how you want the audience or the customers to perceive the product. Looking at the packaging, looking at the name, costing, price, all the elements, and then whether it's a premium product or whether it is a budget friendly product or it's a product which is exclusively for a niche market. So depending on what exactly your product is and how you want to position it will definitely create a great impact. So in this third unit, the three areas is what to be focused on: understanding the target, the segmentation part, targeting part, and the positioning part, right? Then moving to the fourth unit, which is more of the profile based for the companies and the organizations to understand the product, because the entire game plan for the company is their product and services. If you do not work on your products, if your products are not good enough, you won't be able to survive into the market, right? So it's very essential understanding that right from an idea generation to finally finishing up the product and launching it into the market, getting the feedback, reviews, and then reworking on it. So this entire process has to be understood in a very proper way, because that's how that's how the market can be analyzed, and you would come to know how good you are doing into the market with respect to your products. So that's the reason this is a fourth unit, which is dedicated exclusively for the product segment, wherein you have product life cycle, you have product mix, you have pricing, and you have promotion, right? So as we have studied, we have understood about the marketing mix. So initially there were 4 P's, that is product, price, place, promotion, but later on the 3 P's were included into it. So product life cycle talks about the birth of the product, right? The product has been developed, getting into the introduction, introducing into the market, growth, maturity, and the decline. Because there is always, when there is a birth of the product, then definitely one fine day the product has to be moved out of the market, right? There are n number of examples which we could see, around us. Like, you have your floppy disk, you have CDs who have been to a decline stage, you have your CRT monitors, which have been going on. So they have been into the product development. Initially, they were launched, they were introduced, they had a good market, they grew in a market very properly. They came down to a certain maturity level, and by the time the maturity level has come down, the demand of the product from the new product has increased, because of which slowly and steadily the sales have stopped down, the sales have reduced, and that is the reason slowly and steadily company finally winds up the product. That's how it goes into the decline stage. So you have product development, that's the first step. Then you have your introduction as a second stage, growth as a third stage, maturity as a fourth stage, and finally the last stage is the decline stage. So company focuses more on that. The product should stay more, should spend more time in the range of growth to maturity. So before it gets into the decline stage, company makes sure that the entire the entire costing and the entire benefits have to be encashed by selling of the products, right? Then you have product mix, in which we give it includes the various dimension of the product, right from its color, its pattern, size, shape, considering the different brands and considering the different product line. Say for example, Amul is into a dairy products, Amul is into food beverages, then again you have Bajaj into a different segments. So these are a company having a different product line, helps them to sell the product, not only sell the product, but then it also saves on the costing of the marketing part. So you need to understand as a marketing professional that how well my product line is defined, and if it is defined, then what are the products are there which could support each other in selling, and simultaneously it can also help in capturing the entire market, right? So that's out about product mix. Then we have pricing. So there are different pricing methodologies adopted by the companies depending on the product and services. You have penetration strategy, you have premium strategy, penetration, skimming, and economic. So these are basically commonly used pricing strategies, wherein we try to get into the market on the basis of cost, right? The companies and the marketing strategies are consider the pricing factor also, because when you develop your product, there is a plenty of cost involved in it. So depending on the cost involved, depending upon the efforts and the promotional activities which you are going to do for the product, the final cost of the product has to be worth enough so that the customers can buy it. So that is the reason we do segmentation. We understand the consumer buying behavior, we understand the marketing elements also, so that we know that what is that we are offering to, and the product cost which we have placed is suitable for the specific audience. Or else sometimes it happens like, you are selling off a normal, say for example, it's an ink pen, and the ink pen you are selling off to the students for the cost of 1,000 rupees, right? So that is a wrong target, wrong segment, and maybe the wrong pricing, because selling off something to the students, you need to have the economic factor into the mind. So based on that, you need to redesign your product, you need to rework on the structure of it, and accordingly cut down the cost, and accordingly put the tag which is reasonable enough. So that's how the pricing goes. And the promotion part, definitely the most important element, because that's how the visibility of the product increases. So choosing up a right promotional tool is very important, whether it is through outdoor advertising, whether it is through print shoots, print advertisement, newspapers, then you have television commercials, you have radio ads, you have leaflet distribution, word of mouth. So there are many channels available. The marketing professional needs to work smartly and use the appropriate combinations accordingly, based on the budget available and the kind of product which they have. So this will help to push to enter into the market and the visibility will increase. People will be customers will be aware about the product and services which are available, and simultaneously it will help you to spread the brand name. First of all, it will create the awareness, and third is it will help to sell the product easily, especially by the salesman. Right. So there are different promotional tools depending upon the kind of product you have and the kind of services which you are thinking to provide, and depending on the annual budget of the marketing, the marketers will think of using a proper combination of tools. But then yes, understanding the 4Ps is essential. Coordinating all the 4P is very important, because either of any single P is been neglected, that the entire process of marketing will be failed. So if you ignore the first P, that is the product, then the entire game of your pricing and your promotion and the distribution will move off, right? So it is very important to balance all the 4Ps and accordingly understand the market in a very proper way, and accordingly move ahead with the strategies that are feasible, that is achievable, and it's according to the budget. Right. So this is the fourth unit under marketing management, which focuses on the product and the rest of the 2Ps. Coming down to the last P, the last unit, which talks about the fourth P, that is the place. So once the product is designed, the pricing is quoted, and the promotional tools are available, the next responsibility comes towards the place where the product is going to be available. Right. So consumers want that whatever products you are selling, whatever services you are giving, that should be in a very convenient way. It should not happen that to buy a 10 rupees thing, customers need to travel say 10 kilometers or need to spend 50 rupees for the traveling. The customer will not come to the store and buy those things just because because of the distance or because of the inconvenience. So we need to make sure that you have a proper distribution channel. You need to have a proper tie-up with the wholesalers and retailers. You need to decide the distribution pattern, understand how the distribution pattern works for your segment of the product line, and what kind of benefit, what time frame we have, how much is the transportation cost involved into it. And based on these factors, we will move. There is a distribution channel created for the organization for that specific product delivery, and it is worked out. So it saves your time. It channelizes the product line in a very proper way. It makes the availability of the product on time, and the entire process, the entire cycle of the marketing mix is works properly. So the product is launched on time. The promotional activities are done on time, the pricing factors is worked out, and the last place factor, that is a distribution pattern, is decided, and it is made sure that the product is available. Otherwise, sometimes it happens you have done the promotional activities, you have put an outdoor advertising mentioning that this product is say for example an XYZ company comes up with a hair shampoo, and for a certain price with a certain discounts. Right, you have done the promotional campaign, but then the place where that shampoo has to be available, they do not have the stock with them. So it's a responsibility of the marketing managers to figure it out, get the stock checked, see how frequently and what is the availability status, and on that basis the product has to be flowed continuously. Then only customer will think of buying the product, or will put up money for utilizing for consuming that product. Right. So under distribution channel, you need to understand how your process is going to be. Is going to be direct or indirect, and choosing appropriate suitable way of making the product available, again tying up with the retailers and wholesalers. So these are certain kind of elements which one need to understand and take care of as far as the distribution channel is concerned. Then definitely the logistics will also come into the picture accordingly. So to sum up with the entire marketing management subject, the fundamentals are the fundamentals of the entire subject. The core area is understanding the fundamentals. So whether you take up the definition of marketing, whether you take up definition of selling, or understanding what is marketing and what is selling too, right from designing the distribution channel. If you want to pick up a distribution channel, so how distribution channel should be and what are the factors involved in it. If you want to put a price tag, so what are the factors, what kind of factors affect the pricing, what are the different types of pricing, and then different strategies used to get into the market. You have promotional tools to understand the different promotional tools, and then finally like product life cycle, which talks about the birth of the product to end of the product. So the entire process has to be understood very well. Focus area, I would recommend to focus on the basics of all these things, because this will help you out to understand the further subject in a more better way. It will also help you out to bring some changes in your working style ahead, in case if you're working with any of the marketing firm. It will help you to change your approach towards selling the product, or about marketing the product in a far more better way. So with this, I would say it's very simple. Go through a couple of case studies. You can have Google couple of marketing strategies for different brands that will again give you an insight about how it should be. Right? There are many articles based on branding, they are positioning, targeting. So when you read these articles, you would come to know that why Amul is what kind of segmentation Amul is using for their products, or what kind of marketing promotional tools Times of India is using, or maybe the different like say CCD, Cafe Coffee Day, is using. So when you read these articles, you will come to know that there are many small elements which we ignore as an individual. But then when we are working and when we are focused as far as marketing professional is concerned, then definitely we need to pinpoint and read each and every element, consider each and every element, and accordingly move ahead. So this will boost your profile. This will throw more light on your career perspective, and also it will open up more career avenues as far as marketing is concerned. Thank you.